As John Thune struggles to get just one extra Republican to vote for the SAVE Act in the Senate, astonishingly 13 Democrats just voted for it in the House, destroying Hakeem Jeffries' desperate attempt to keep up a unified front to stop voter ID and proof of citizenship. This is happening all the while the list of Republican senators calling to cancel their summer recess is growing. And we just got a brand new poll. You are not going to believe how many voters want this act passed. Stick them to the very end of this video because the wall built up against election security is finally cracking, and now it's our job to demolish it once and for all. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. As many of you know, just days ago, the House passed the Save America Act. They actually passed it twice in a single day. It's now officially the third time the House has passed the Save Act, which would require voter ID and proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. So it's basic. Show your ID at the polls. Prove you're a citizen when you register. Literally, that's it. It's a bill that would require you to show an ID when you vote in the same way you show an ID at the airport or when you go to the Obama Library in Chicago. You just show your ID and you have to prove your citizenship when you register to vote. It's not complicated. It's the very basis for democratic integrity. And yet, the entire so-called Democrat Party stands in opposition of those two requirements. Hakeem Jeffries, dollar store Obama, as Jesse Waters likes to call him, has insisted that those two simple basic requirements that you see in democracies all over the planet are in fact racist. They are racist. They would disenfranchise all our illegal. I'm sorry. They would disenfranchise all of our voters. You know, like illegals, those who don't have proof of citizenship, those who don't want you asking them to identify themselves because they've already voted. So dollar store Obama has thus far held the Democrat caucus together, united against this horrible, terrible, racist effort at disenfranchising their voters across the country. That is until this last vote. What many people don't know is that the wall cracked. 6 Democrats crossed the aisle and voted for the SAVE Act. Half dozen. Not bad, right? But it actually got worse. Remember, the House passed the SAVE Act again in a smaller version, one that focuses solely on requiring universal voter ID. They attached it to a bill that would stop congressmen from insider trading. And this time, 13 Democrats voted for it. So it was the original 6 plus another 7. So this is a wall that's not just cracking, it's actually beginning to buckle. It's beginning to falter. So the first bill passed the SAVE Act by attaching it to the Defense Authorization Package, which is a reconciliation bill. It will require only 50 votes plus 1, a tiebreaker, and thereby bypass the Senate's filibuster obstacle. The second vote, the one that attached voter ID to the insider trading ban that got the 13 Democrats, that basically forces Democrats and a few holdout Republicans who oppose universal voter ID to go ahead and vote against a ban on insider trading if they wanted to vote against it. So you got to hand it to Mike Johnson in the House. Either way, they're giving the Republicans in the Senate literally every opportunity on earth to do what's right here. But what's going on with these Democrats? What's going on with those 6 and then the 7 that follow them, these 13 crossovers? Well, we don't have to look very far. Old Gollum himself, James Carville, the longtime Democrat strategist, just told his own party to stop fighting voter ID altogether.
We are not going to win the war against some kind of ID. Every poll shows 75 or better say we should have some kind of an ID to vote. Some say, I don't know what it is, but just quit fighting and go along with it and move to the next thing.
Now, that warning by Carville landed at the worst possible moment for his party because Democrats just got caught flat-footed on the exact issue they spent years dismissing and denying. The Washington Examiner laid out how Democrats have completely lost the entire narrative on voter fraud after it was revealed that more than 6,600 illegal aliens were able to legally register to vote in New Jersey. And their feckless, pathetic Democrat governor, Mikey Sherrill, desperately tried to blame it on what she called a software error in their databases. Now, the company blamed for it, IDEMIA, I guess is IDEMIA, IDEMIA. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they were absolutely livid, as they should be. They openly and explicitly pushed back and said that such a glitch is actually impossible. It was not a software error. It was a human error. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Humans did that. Humans transferred illegal migrant names from the DMV databases. Why are they even getting driver's licenses to begin with, to voter databases? So there's no software glitch that could do that. And of course, legacy media outlets like CNN and ABC have largely tried to memory hole this ridiculously humiliating story for the Democrats in New Jersey. CNN's Abby Phillip, the borderline illiterate, actually tried desperately to defend it. And this after she spent months denying that illegals were on the voter rolls.
He's been in office for a full year now. They have not come up with any of this purported evidence of voter fraud. You guys are in search of something that there's been no evidence exists. New Jersey is double checking its voter rolls tonight after a software error added 6,600 non-citizens to the voter rolls. The suggestion that this is fraud suggests that these people were trying to vote. Sometimes what happens is that when state systems are incorrect, people receive information and they are confused. Where some people who are ineligible to vote are not aware that they're ineligible to vote. I do think whether it is widespread or not matters. I do think that the numbers actually matter.
That, my friends, is a paid propagandist. I know they all are, but I mean, right there, what you just saw, that was raw, unbridled, paid for pro-Democrat propaganda, plain and simple. Nothing else. Why anyone wastes their time with her, I have no idea. And the Washington Examiner is saying blatantly, Abby Phillip lost. She lost. The Democrats lost. That propaganda that you just heard spewing from CNN is falling on deaf ears. Take a look at the latest polling. This just dropped today from McLaughlin. Look at that. 82%. This is an 80-20 issue. 82% believe only U.S. citizens should vote in federal elections, obviously. I don't know where the other 18% are coming from. They must be members of the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, right? Mamdani's crowd, the third worldists, as it were. 82%, 78% want proof of citizenship to register to vote, and 78% want voter ID at the polls. The SAVE Act is the very definition of an 80-20 issue. And this is precisely what James Carville is talking about. There is no point in resisting this. Resistance is futile, right? There is no point. This is because there's no 80-20 issue that does not eventually, ultimately become law. And you do not want to be found on the wrong side of that when it does. So now all eyes are on the Senate Republicans. What are they going to do now that the wall of resistance against the SAVE Act in D.C. is cracking? That is exactly what we're about to find out. For years, the left has done their best to convince millions of Americans that their real enemy is not big government or crooked politicians or communist ideologies, but instead they would have us believe that the real enemy is our fellow rich Americans, right? Think about it. How often have you heard someone complain that the rich get richer while the poor get poorer? It's a phrase that's been around for years, but lately we've been hearing it more and more from the mouths of so-called social justice warriors. You know, people like Elizabeth Warren, who said nobody in this country got rich on their own, or New York's socialist mayor Mamdani, who said, I don't even think there should be billionaires. Why? Well, because the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poor. And that's why we should figure out how to raise taxes and take the money from rich people and give it to the government, who will be sure to redistribute it in a fair way, like USAID did, right? This is how the left thinks. However, what if the real question isn't how do we take the money from the rich people, but what are the rich doing to get richer? That's the question a good friend of this channel, Mark Wilburn, has been asking for nearly 20 years. Mark is the president of Neos Capital and the author of the book, Understanding the Matthew Effect, Unlocking the Mystery Behind Why the Rich Get Richer. In the book, Mark argues that the fact that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer is actually a timeless economic principle that Jesus taught about when he said in the book of Matthew, to everyone who has, more shall be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, even what he does have shall be taken away. In the book, he explains why it's better to understand and tap into this universal law instead of trying to fight it through woke economic policies. It's a great short read, and normally the book is $19, but Mark's agreed to give away a limited number of digital copies to our listeners. Simply go to freebookforturley.com right now to claim your free copy. I think you'll absolutely love it. That's freebookforturley.com. So now the entire fight shifts to the Senate, and this is where the real drama is unfolding as we speak. Senate Republicans, following President Trump's orders, are digging in. They are working to keep the chamber in session and grinding through the calendar specifically to force votes on the SAVE Act package before their summer recess. Now, it is an uphill battle for sure. The Senate never fails to disappoint. The Senate is our House of Lords. They operate by their own aloof rules that are just beyond pathetic, no question. But the list of Republican senators calling for canceling their summer recess is growing literally by the hour, it seems. Now, the last time the Senate voted on the full SAVE Act, 4 Republicans voted against it. That's Murkowski, the embarrassment from Alaska, Mitch McConnell, our own cardboard cutout senator. We don't even know if he's alive. Our own Mojtaba McConnell, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, who'll be fortunately leaving us after this session, and Maine's Susan Collins, who's up for re-election this November. Now, Murkowski's gone. She's not voting for this, and that's because she can't win without voter fraud. So she's not voting for it. McConnell, again, we don't even know if the guy's still alive. He's not there. But Tillis is pure scum. He's just a bitter, angry, rejected senator on his way out. So it really comes down to Susan Collins. We've got 53 GOP senators. If Collins is persuadable, if one of those 4 is persuadable, it's going to be Collins. If Collins is persuadable, then JD can come in, cast the tie-breaking vote in a reconciliation bill, and we've got the SAVE Act on Trump's desk. What you got to know with Collins is she's already a firm yes on the SAVE Act, but she was one of the 4 Republicans who voted against attaching the SAVE Act to that $70 billion ICE CBP funding package a couple of months back. She's holding out because she didn't like the process. So welcome to the Senate, right? This is, again, Democrats want to abolish the Senate. They probably don't have to. Senators are going to abolish it for us. They're literally worse than worthless, right? So Collins is holding out, and she's giving mixed messages as to why. So at one point, she's arguing that she doesn't like the reconciliation process itself because it bypasses the long-standing tradition of negotiations and compromises that mark the politics of the Senate, blah, blah, blah. At another point, she's saying she doesn't like the particular version of the SAVE Act. Whatever it is, Collins is on record as locked in as a yes on the substance of the SAVE Act, but she has yet to be persuaded on the means. And that is precisely what John Thune, as a Senate Majority Leader, it's what he is, right? It's what John Thune, as the leader of the Senate Republicans, and yes, President Trump, too, has to play a role in this. That's what they have to focus on. What are you going to do to convince Susan Collins to vote yes on this appropriations attached SAVE Act? What are you going to do? Whatever you need to do, you got to do it. And we'll have a SAVE Act on Trump's desk literally in a matter of days. So here's the bottom line. This act is far from dead. It is now officially bipartisan. It's riding inside the defense budget, and it just produced its first Democrat defectors in the House. Every senator now has to answer one question in front of the voters that they face in November. Are you really willing to hold up pay raises for American troops just to stop Americans from showing ID at the ballot box? Are you really willing to go on summer recess without securing our elections in a way that 80% of the country wants? That is what we all need to be asking of our senators in the coming days. So what do you guys think? Are you going to be doing that? Are we going to get this past the finish line? Let me know in the comments section below. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. Love you guys. God bless.